feel like we haven't done this in a while.
We haven't. Right? It's been a while.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the FEF podcast. My name is Todd Kelly, writer, creator of Sheldor the Defender, Atlas Rising, Project Titans, and a few other things in my brain that haven't made it to paper yet. So we'll continue to have fun with that. I'm here tonight with our regular crew and our amazing guests. And let everybody introduce themselves. So I'm kick it over to Nick first.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be back after a little hiatus, but as you can see, the self-diagnosed pop culture connoisseur, and I actually get the honor of having InfinityCon, our sponsor, in my square this week.
That's right, it's in your square, sir.
Isn't it always in your square?
Yeah,
no, because the last couple times I've been in the middle, and so it's been on the other side. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did the other thing.
Right. We're also back once again. It's me, the returning rapper / actor / producer, the original MD McDonald from Swerve Comics, writer, creator, acrobat, astronaut. And tonight's guest, we have the legendary, which I'm gonna let him speak for himself, but the man has been everywhere from Tokyo to Japan to Amsterdam, all the way to Lehigh, Florida. Mr. Peterson, introduce yourself, sir. Let them know who you are.
Hello. I'm not sure I'm legendary, but I have been to Taiwan.
Nice showing off.
That's not true. I've been to Taiwan. My name is Peterson. I'm a comic book writer, artist, and I've done a couple of things for DC, and I have my own comic book, and I've met MD McDonald around the cons, and we've done some meetings about comic books, and I looked at some of his pages, just help him out, and then we're always chilling. Whenever we go to cons, we hang out, and so that's my main man right there. So I think that's my introduction.
All right, that's his intro. Some of the stuff he told you is true. Some of it's fictional. He critiqued my stuff, and he made it read like I was an elementary school teacher, and I turned in a bad assignment. He wrote all over it, and he hurt my feelings, but it made me stronger. But in tonight's episode, we finna introduce and interview this incredible, talented man that's grateful talent. You know what I'm saying? So first things first is we want to know a little bit about you, Mr. Peterson, sir. Give us a little insight. What made you start doing comics? Who told you you could draw as good as you can draw? Because it wasn't me. Go.
Comics, I don't know. Like I started drawing at an early age. Like when I was 4, I picked up a pencil and I just started, drawing, just kind of like escape the world. And I never stopped. And comic books, I think I was like 12 or 13 years old. I opened a Spawn comic book, and I was completely submerged into Todd McFarlane's artwork. And I told myself, that's what I want to do, not even knowing that it could be possible, but I was like, I want to do that. And then, cut 2 years later, I'm married, my wife is like, hey, what do you want to do? Is there something, because I became a citizen then, and she's like, is there something you want to do now that you can, go out for a school or something? I was like, well, here's this school in New Jersey. And she's like, what kind of school? And then I was like, it's a comic book school, and I expected her to start laughing. She's like, let's go, and I've been on this comic book journey ever since. That's up. Yeah. And I think nobody told me I could draw comics. In fact, like most people tell me not to draw comics, like including comic book school. They're like, hey, don't please go do something else. Please try, but there's something about comic book artists and fandom that you just kind of like, you never say, you never say die, you never stop. You always, so that passion is always in there for comic books.
Well, I think that's a great point, though. When you talk about having a supportive spouse, I think having a partner with you that, is ready to, support you going into some crazy stuff like that. Like it's not going to work unless you've got somebody that's like ride or die with you. You know what I mean? Like there's too many weekends gone. There's too many this, there's too many that. There's too many nights that you're doing this stuff. So that's absolutely awesome. I can attest as well. For me kind of getting started, I remember going home and offering it, pitching it to my wife of like, hey, look, I want to do this. And her, fully expecting like the objections and just different things, and her just being like, all right, cool. Yeah, bet, win. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's do this. So,
yeah.
That's so cool.
I think they figured like if we're doing something, that's like occupying us, we can't get in trouble. So they're like, all right, whatever.
I mean, that's solid logic. It is solid logic. We're still going to get in trouble, but it's usually like nerdy, stupid trouble. Like, I stayed up all night at the con playing Dungeons, learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I mean? Like, it's usually some stupid stuff like that.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, like having a spouse that kind of understands it. It's hard in the best careers. So if you have a spouse that it's there with you, it's definitely a game changer.
Okay, so Mr. Peterson, sir, you went to this school, sir. What did they teach you at this school that you already didn't know?
Well, it's a lot of the basics. So some of the classes that are taught in the 3 years is narrative art, human anatomy, and those two are like comic book. That's what comic book is. You have to tell a story, and you have to basically draw these humans naked. They look naked, but they just have like a layer of color that so anatomy is a big thing. So they drill that into you, but then they also teach you how to. There's like when I was there was a animation class in the first year, and so that helps you storyboard. And which is where I work now, So they kind of, you leave there a little bit, you're very well rounded, so you can paint, you can do all these, things that it's not necessarily just comic books. You leave the school, I can do like a buddy of mine just did a career in drawing variant covers, and he just like made them beautiful, and he was making money while he was in school. So it's just like it's a weird, it's a comic book school. They changed the name to like graphic arts, but because they teach you all of that,
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like what do you call it, like accredited, it's like a university or something. It's just like you just go there, learn the craft, and you leave. They don't give you a certificate, which could be hard if you're going into a job and they're like, oh, you do art? Do you have a certificate? Did you go, So you can do all of these jobs that they're asking for, but you don't have that little piece of paper. So it's, it's like it's a little catch-22.
So I feel like to add to that though, as an artist, when someone's just like, do you have a certificate? You just like, you can draw like an awesome or make an awesome certificate and be like, yeah, this is it right here, fam. Like, what's up? Like, there you go. Like, put it in their face. Like, this is my certificate. Look at this BA cover right here. Boom. That's how I picture it in my brain. I feel like that's what Swerve would do. Swerve would be like, nah, look at this portfolio, fam. Like,
that's your certificate right there, your portfolio. And this man's portfolio, I've seen glimpses and glamours of it. It's incredible. He's always showing off at the cons and stuff, and everybody likes him. He got good hair. I don't have any, so I feel he's a good guy. I like that. His hair is better than mine. His beard.
That's the cornerstone, actually. Not having a spouse is just having good hair. That's
it. You know what I'm saying? His spouse is
that's how Rob Liefeld did it. He had like the dry look.
He had the dry look, but he couldn't do feet and and hands. But he still was a great man. He's legendary. So you went to school, sir, for all this incredible stuff you knew and everything. And tell us about your comic book, because I've seen it. It's incredible. Your superhero probably wants to fight 8-Ball. I heard something about that in the comic stratosphere, but I'm not sure because I don't believe in violence. I believe in teamwork. But go ahead and tell us about the Angel of Sad Hill.
The Angel of Sad Hill. I created that story like on my first year when I was in school, and he looked completely different. It was like a different design, and it's just basically a really high-paced, like fast-paced comic book. Like I usually say, Iron Man meets the City of God. And the City of God is like this movie that kind of like outdid Scorsese in a way, because it was like very quick paced, you know, like very action packed, violent movie in Brazil. So it gives you like this worldview that people weren't used to, and I love that, and I love superhero stories. So it has those two with like a spiritual element to it. So it's just me throwing everything that I'm into. You know, like I grew up in church, so like I'm putting some of that in there. But it's not in no way like a Christian comic book. You know, it's like, if anything, it very much it could question, you know, like the things of God quite a bit. So I made the story, you know, I made the first issue, like I wrote it, I drew it, you know, I taught my wife how to letter it. So she lettered the first issue. And a buddy of mine from school, he's our colorist. He's coloring the second issue right now. And I don't know, man. It's a guy who's wearing this armor, trying to protect his neighborhood, which is called Sad Hill, and it's one of the most dangerous neighborhoods, favelas, like shantytown in Brazil, and while maintaining his sobriety. You know, so it's like he's walking a tightrope in a way. So I don't know if he even stands a chance against 8-Ball. You know, if to be honest, 8-Ball has his shit together. You know, like this guy, he's like fumbling, you know, like through sewers. You know, like you know.
But
So,
you also got to remember too, 8-Ball's a young man. He's got issues, man. He's going through puberty and stuff. So you know, testosterone off the chart, sir. So he could be a very angry man. You know, he's here, then he's over here.
Sure. But that make him a good fighter. You know, like extra rage. You know.
He's gonna be a good fighter, but I think they're gonna be friends in the end. You know, he might have to visit. The Angel might have to visit Lehigh or Fort Myers, or we go to Brazil to Carnival. 8-Ball's at Carnival. They bump into each other. You know, they having drinks. You know, cracking open a 40 or something like that. I don't know. No, but he's on sobriety, so he can't. He'll be cracking open an ice cream. He'll be drinking.
Come on now.
He'll be cracking open a V8. You know what I'm saying? You know, something like that, or some pineapple juice. You know.
He's over there with some milk and some cookies.
Muscle milk.
Milk and cookies. Milk and cookies is good. Very good.
Here's what I'm hearing, and I want to throw this out there. So I'm hearing they have like a singles match, like they go against each other, and then issue 2, we bring in Mike Seeley's Eclipse, right? Because we still got to do that crossover. And then we just keep rolling. And what happens is every time we bring in somebody else, everybody teams up against that person, and it just escalates.
Think of it as the Royal Rumble.
Exactly. That's it.
The Money in the Bank match, whoever gets the suitcase, you know, wins that contract. You know what I'm saying? But
have you read?
It's all this.
That's how you do it. Get somebody writing on that story for us, man. Real quick.
I can write it, and if you want stick figures, I got you.
Stick figures are nice. They're simple.
That is pretty cool. Have you seen that one stick figure animation that's out there where they do like the fighting? Like it's like the gold versus like red or something like that.
That's pretty hot though. I like that. It's funny.
That's old school.
Funny.
I still come across it every now and then and have to rewatch it. Like every time I'm caught off guard, I'm like, wow, that's really cool.
True. So great and powerful Peterson, sir. I saw you on television, and I mean, I was looking at this one TV show. You know, you're trying to hold back on it, but we all know what you've done, sir. We know you did your own comic book. We know you did something with DC Comics, Milestone.
Yes.
Come on, just tell us how great you are. This is your chance to tell us. Come on.
Yes, DC did a talent search, and with for like 12 artists and 12 writers. And they're relaunching the Codaverse, I guess. That's where the universe where Static Shock, Icon, Rocket are all part of Hardware.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's being spearheaded by Reggie Hoodlin, you know, the guy who co-wrote Django Unchained, House Parties, like all of those, you know, those films. So he's writing, you know, he's spearheading this thing. And so they had a talent search, you know. so I reached out and they like my work, and then they send me a sample, like a 3-page sample to draw static. I drew that, I passed that, and then I started writing a story written by Jerome. I forget his last name, but he's like the writer I work with, and they flew us into Burbank, California, where we were there for a week. We met Jim Lee. We were at the DC office when it was like in that huge building, and it was just unreal, man. It was like incredible. Like I was pinching myself. I'm like, is this real? And then they were like, well, we bring you guys here because we want you to work. And we're like, wait, what do you mean? They're like, well, we're going to break you up into teams, and you're each going to come up with a hero and villain that is going to be part of the Dakotaverse, / DC, So it was in like a fever dream. I was like up all night, like drawing like these characters, and we had to pitch them to like the Jim Lee and all the DC execs. So that was pretty cool. And so that story got printed into the Milestone Talent Showcase anthology that came out in June. And I did another anthology called DC Power, right, where they kind of like showcase like the Black heroes. So I drew Nightwing and Vixen, and they're going off against Black Manta. So that was another, like a month of like drawing these pages. It was like working the day job and then doing that at nighttime, on vampire time, and like not getting any sleep, trying to like perfect it, and I was so like sleep deprived, but it was like the best time of my life, man. I had like so much fun, just like drawing comics. So yeah. So I think
that's the dream.
I'm very, very lucky. Yeah.
That's what's up. No, that's really cool. So what was it like kind of having to pitch one of those on the fly? Because I imagine like for me, I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, holy crap. Like that's one of those moments where, like, I don't know about you, but all the time, like I'm coming up with different characters and then doing different things. Obviously only ever putting like 1 out of like 100 on paper, and the rest of them are just stuck up here. And then, on the other side of that, like you put me right in front of somebody, I'm going to just probably draw a blank real fast. Like, wait, what are characters? Like what's going on? So like, how did that process work with you?
Well, it was kind of like, you ever been in college or school, they break you up into teams. So each team, usually in school, each person should have a job, but like it's usually one person that carries the whole team. So it wasn't anything like that, because they paired 2 writers, 2 artists. So one writer, come up with the hero, the other the villain. One artist drew the hero, and the other artist drew the villain.
Right.
So it was kind of like very, very like it's like a writer's room. Everybody's like throwing ideas, that's the phase where things stuck and things didn't. And then I drew the guy, but then I guess there was like a COVID, somebody got COVID, so we had to do it over Zoom, so we're all in our hotel rooms, and we're doing, over Zoom, and there's, Jim Lee, and, I think it was like Mary Jarvis, one of the executives. And yeah, I mean, you're in your hotel room, but you're still nervous. You still have to talk like about this thing that you drew. Like you're up all night and drawing, and you're just like, hope it's perfect while talking to Jim Lee. So you're like, so I did okay. I think
you crushed it, man.
Yeah, but there was a lot of people that blanked. Like they thought about what they're saying. They thought who they were talking to. Like Jim Lee's right there, and then they're like take your time. It's all right. It was nervous. Yeah, it was very nerve wracking.
I can guarantee that I would have just rambled for like 5 minutes before I realized what I was even talking about, and then go from there. Like, promise you, that's how I would have done it. Yeah.
So if I heard you right, you created your own character for an anthology. Did they is that DC's character? Is that your character now, or
it's not like we created these characters for DC. So
okay.
So if they ever use the character, it's theirs. just like any, if you create a character for DC, that's how it is. Or DC or Marvel, that's how it is. And if they use it, and a certain percentage of sales on the comic books, if that certain percentage is reached and passed, then that's, you might get the royalty from that character. But as of now, I don't know if they're using the characters right now. But we got to create them. It was like, it was really fun. I hope that in the near future I get to draw him, or
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Well, I mean, the way they're at these days, I mean, it is what it is. Unfortunately, if you don't end up making the royalties off from DC, if the character pops off enough, there's so many cons and there's so many ways to go out there and kind of monetize it and do different things from it. I mean, just being the creator of it and doing remarks, I mean, you can go make $30,000 in a weekend at a big show. So
yeah, and it's big. They came out and they said these are the creators of these characters. Which
there you go. That's cool.
Historically,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
it's a murky kind of like area. So we felt like a huge deal. Having
that's awesome, dude. That's really cool.
Well, first of all, I want to say, all good shout out to Dwayne McDuffie. He was one of the main ones who was behind the whole milestone thing. The man was a creative genius. And with you guys redoing the milestone initiative, are they restarting like the whole milestone thing? Will there be a new current icon? Will there be a new who else? Icon? Will it be a new
Rocket
and stuff like that?
It's the same. It's the same characters, but some of the origin story got tweaked a little. Like
because now they're with DC.
They always were under DC, so DC was always funding the Dakotaverse. Now with the revamping, like stuff like Static Shock getting his powers from a gang fight has been changed to where he's at a Black Lives Matter protest. So I guess to fit more with the time, he's kind of like more, like a protester kind of,
So you saying Static Shock got a mansion? Okay, go. All right.
Sure. And so I don't know. So that's one of like the things that kind of got switched to to nowadays.
So basically, they just updated to modern times to fit the new the new era and everything and stuff. I get that. I get that. That was cool though. I always liked it. I liked the Icon and Rocket, and I was always like the Hardware too. That's when I was talking about Hardware. Did anybody redo Hardware? Is that coming back with a new? I mean, what is that?
Yeah, right now they're doing I think it's like Icon versus Hardware.
That's not fair.
Yeah. So I think they're using those guys, so it looks pretty cool. So that's what they're doing with those characters. But in the anthology I did with the milestone, Hardware has like 3 stories in there from like different groups, like and they're all pretty good. So I haven't checked out Icon versus Hardware, but it sounds just that should be enough for like the
I guess that kind of be like Superman versus Batman, because Hardware had like a whole bunch of gadgets and everything and stuff.
Yeah.
Which very good.
They did that already, and it didn't go over so well.
That's true.
I don't
the opposite of what they wanted.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't see was that a movie? I didn't see it.
Yes, it was.
Am I the only one who liked that movie?
No, I enjoyed it. I
Okay.
liked it a lot. It was just there were certain things that just kind of
What
were
movie
like.
are you talking about?
That's every movie though. There's always stuff.
Well, yes. this was pretty glaring though.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman, the movie.
Yeah,
There was a
Batman
movie
versus
about
Superman?
that. I
Yes.
don't know what you're talking about. I read the comic book. That was better. You know what I'm saying? That was good stuff. The comic book. So very good. Very good.
It looks beautiful. It's a beautiful looking film. Like the shadows, like it looks
It's like your hair. Your hair is very immaculate, sir. Sorry. I'm not angry.
I sense
I'm not
jealousy.
Angry. I'm not angry about that at all. I'm
Jealousy.
good. I'm not mad. So He has
That
hair.
would be a nice plot for Batman versus Superman. You know, like one of them is jealous. That's reason enough.
His mom's name is Martha. His mom's name is Martha. They should talk to their dad. They could be brothers. I don't know.
So I will say this about that movie. Until they had that moment, I never put 2 and 2 together that both their names.
That's also true.
Bro,
Yeah,
I swear to God, I
true.
I've watched and read so much stuff between the two of them, and I never until that moment was just like, wait, what?
Wait a minute.
Everybody knocks on it, but like I'm the guy that was like, holy shit, they're both named Martha. Like, yeah, no, they had me. Like I was.
Not me. I was thinking about some ghetto stuff. I was like, Martha got 2 baby daddies. One of them.
Are they brothers? Are they related?
They just got different daddies. One lived in Gotham. This is when she lived in Gotham. And she moved Metropolis after the fact.
One's an alien and one's a millionaire.
Yeah, one's a millionaire, one working the newspaper. Somebody got shitted in the head. You know? These are the questions did you talk to Jim Lee about that and be like that? You know, was Martha, did she live in Gotham earlier? You know?
And, they did try that angle with the Batman, right? They almost retconned where Bruce Wayne and the Joker. Did you guys watch it?
Yeah.
I didn't see the Batman.
I saw that was good.
They almost touched that, but then I guess it turned out the Joker's mom was just completely mad, like crazy.
She's nutty than squirrel shit, and that's not bad. That's real stuff. You know?
Yeah.
It shows that it's hereditary, and we understand that now.
Yeah, but for a minute when they were going there, and I was in the movie theater, I was like, oh my god, you know, I was like, oh no. Where's it gonna go? Like, you know, I was worried.
Did you say like holy rusted metal Batman? Did you there those old?
No. I said holy funyuns.
Holy space monkeys, Batman.
Yeah.
Your mother's name's Martha too.
I like to think for the writing of that though, like a couple of the writers were out and they were having a drink and they were just like, man, I have no idea what we're gonna do. Like this makes no sense. And then somebody was like putting their names down. And they're like, Martha.
Wait a minute.
Like, yeah, holy. And then, I like to think that's how it happened. Like,
that's not far. Like, if you see like Zack Snyder's interview with what the guys that did Infinity War, the brothers, what are they called?
Oh, the Russos.
Russo. Yeah.
Russo brothers.
They have a YouTube channel where they interview people in the industry, and the first guest was Zack Snyder.
Stole our idea.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Gotta interview Peterson now. But Snyder said there was like a lot of like studio interference with that. So, you know, it's like a miracle that something that you like came out, you know, so it's like a credit to his talent, you know, like a lot of notes in those, you know, Batman vs Superman, Justice League. So, yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed a bunch of that stuff a lot more than a lot of other people did. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I get it. It's fun to hate on stuff, you know, but I like to just go and watch and enjoy best I can. It's got to be really bad for me to be like, holy crap, that was bad. So, let's see. What's the one? Oh, crap. Airbender. The Last Airbender. The live adaptation of that was god awful, horrible. That's about my standard of a bad.
That was terrible. And should have been M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah,
and Firebend at the same time.
Aren't they redoing it?
They are.
Yeah, on Netflix. Netflix is redoing it.
Wow.
If they don't get it right, I'm done.
Well, you want to know my theory? I think James Cameron is doing it already with the Avatar. They got the what is it, the Nauvoo, or what they call them? They had the land one. Now they got the sea. They're going to come out with something like From the Fire. I'm like, dude, if you lose the Airbender,
the last one is there.
It's called copyright infringement, bro. You can't this stuff, James. You know,
that's so funny. I hadn't thought about that. And he was the one that made it so they couldn't use like Avatar. There's some reason they had to call it Last Airbender. So yeah, you're probably honest.
Stop with some risk, so they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's funny.
But back to the man of the hour though. The guy with the baby hair, glasses, you know.
Baby hair? Is that what we're talking about now?
That's baby hair, man. Like you put some baby oil on that stuff, lay down and it's
You're gonna explain that to the white viewers of the show.
All right.
Or the white host, because we have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah,
What
like,
does baby hair mean?
Well, in the
what is
African
baby hair?
American culture, sir, babies
Okay.
have a very curly, very nice. If you put oil on it, it will lay down and it'll just pop back up and look like a nice little Michael Jackson jerry curl thing going on there. Let's drip. It's very soft. It's very stylish, and I'm not hating. I don't hate on anything. I really don't. I like mine.
Yeah.
So I don't want any trouble. But sir, you being the incredible artist how did you get your wife to do lettering? Because that's not really that fun.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I enjoy it.
So did you take her down to like Coach or Louis Vuitton and get like a Gucci bag or something and be like, baby, you do this, I'm gonna get you a Gucci bag, How'd you do it?
You just threw three stores together and none of them related.
Yeah. No, I think I needed the help. Like once you write something and then you draw that and then you just need to step back. Like I guess I could have, because I knew how to letter, but I'm glad I didn't because she thinks differently. So she was doing like after she learned, she's like, what if I do this with the lettering? And I was like, oh, okay, that helps tell the story. So go ahead. She's like creative as well. She just never pursued that. So like whenever like when I was in Jersey, I made a movie, and I was editing and then I'm like, I taught her how to like edit, so I'm like, so you're a co-editor. So she started doing that. So there's that creativity in her as well. Even though she's like an accountant manager, which is like, you have to be very creative to be an accountant. People think like, oh no, it's not creative. Those are bad accountants. They can't. So no, I didn't have to. I just told her like, do this, woman.
And then like I got you some Versace. Versace.
She's very creative and she's like yeah, I'll help. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
That's cool, sir. Because lettering, I've never done that stuff before myself. I'm just a average guy,
Yeah, and if you're an artist, lettering is really not what you want to do. Like even though you can make it look really, really cool, but it's not where your brain goes.
No, it's not.
So yeah, I was lucky to she's very detail oriented, so it helped tremendously. So. Yeah.
All of that being said, anyone who wants to do a comic book, pay your letterer really well.
Because if not, you could have a lot of misspelled words.
Pay your letterer, pay your letterer, and be very particular about who you let do it. Be picky about it. It's very important.
You might not have regrets, but you'll have a lot of regrets. That's what that's supposed to say. And that's for you because you didn't pay me. So you got regrets in there. You'll be okay.
I'm not saying like, it's less than because it can
we know.
bring down the whole page. A bad lettering job can bring down your everything you've done. Just like a good lettering job helps tell the story and it pushes, the story forward. It guides the eye just like the art should, so it's very, very, very important to have a good letter, and they deserve, all the monies that you can throw their way.
Right. About $15 a page tends to be pretty fair for anybody who's asking. You can get a pretty good letterer for $15 a page.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That being said, Marvin, I thought you did an amazing job on yours. I really like the way you used the different colors too. With like, so you could tell kind of who was talking and different emphasis and like that. I like that you made the lettering exciting, and I thought that was really cool.
Sir, I'm going to say thank you, but enough about me. Stop it. We're going to talk about this guy over here. This guy also, in that book you think that's amazing, I'm going to tell you a story. I did a couple of pages.
I'm on yours.
And I was like, yo, Peter, he was like, hey, if you ever need help, let me know, send me your stuff. And I'll look at it and I'll tell you, I was like, you know what? Yeah, been to school and stuff he drawing. He got the Angel Sad Hill stuff coming out. Like, his stuff look great. I'm sending my stuff. I'm thinking like, he going to be like, sure, you're doing great. Keep going, Marvin. You know what I'm saying? Nope. Nope, that's not what I got back. It's like I was in 5th grade and I gave my paper to the English teacher and she pulled out that red pen and was like, no.
Looked like a murder scene.
This should be like this. No, if it was me, this is how I would do it. I just got like a red page back. I was like, this looks nothing like my art. But all jokes aside, I love the way he took my stuff, man. And I did use a lot of his ideas and suggestions, and he helped make my book even better. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and that's an artist 101 right there. Like in school, like whatever I did to your pages in school, we like, let's say you have your art up on the wall next to everybody's art, and Andy Kubert is walking by it, and or Adam Kubert is walking by it, and he's doing what I did with your pages, in front of everybody, so if your shit looks wonky, everybody's gonna hear about it, like you only got the emails that you probably deleted, nobody's ever gonna see them, but this is like everybody looking at your pages. And like there was like some people who are like, I found my style, this is how my pages are gonna look, this is how they're supposed to look, I don't need to learn everything else. And like, we would tell them like, hey man, you gotta better this, you gotta better this. It's like, no, I'm not a robot, I got a style, this is what I'm gonna do, and now they can't find jobs because it's like your art is not marketable, like you didn't learn. And the cool thing about MD, he'd be like, okay, he didn't do everything that I did to his page. He's like, no, but this is a good idea, that's how you're supposed to take it,
Right.
Like not every critique is is best, sometimes
Right.
it's just taste. This is how I would,
Yeah.
and yeah, so MD's like, a learning artist, which is like, that's what you gotta be,
Yeah.
And that's why he was part of the Milestone Initiative. And they told me, he was drawing. They was like, you want to be part of the Milestone Initiative? I was like, yeah. They was like, here, pick up all the trash around the building, take it downstairs, and bring us back a whole lot of coffee. And now you part of the Milestone Initiative. I was like, thank you, Jim Lee.
Everybody breaks in a different way.
Like, Peterson, I was like, Peterson, put a good word in for me. He was like, good word about but I always tell him every time, you know what I'm saying, man, if it wasn't for him, like I said, he really helped me a lot. He gave me a lot of ideas, and he never, I don't know if I ever can say I got on his nerves, but I was shooting some stuff, and he never like turned his nose up. He was always like, yeah, I'll help you out, you know what I'm saying? And I just told him, I'm finna drop the second book, and he was like, let me see it, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, you just keep your damn red pen to yourself. You just tell me what I need to do. Don't hurt my feelings. You know what it is.
I switch colors. I'm doing hopeful green.
Oh, green, yeah. Green makes you feel better.
After you talk about red, now it's like a nice peaceful green.
Look, now myself is just about a Green Lantern. You know what I'm saying? It's just a red lantern.
Green's money, baby. It's all good.
But like one thing that I notice he always does too. You always do like panels for like how to do your comic book and stuff. And enlighten some of those people who will be watching this later on, like what would be some good things to do if you really want to start. I mean, you from scratch, so you did everything on your own. You create your character just like me, but you're better than me. You have better hair. But we ain't talking about it. So tell people what they need to do if you think they should start their own comic book. And what did you do? How did you do it?
It all comes down. It all comes down to this: have good hair.
Yeah.
If you don't have good hair, then it's down. No, I'm
gonna keep my hat on.
Yeah, no. I think if you want to be an artist, like you see in cons, you see like all the artists, they have like their little thing that they do, and they do it well. If you want to be an artist, great. And I think what every artist have in common is that like you're kind of like a rebel, you're kind of like a rule breaker. Sometimes there's no artist in your school, in your family, like my family. Like there's nobody in your family that's an artist, so you don't know what that is. Like you don't know any artist, any comic book artist. Growing up, so it's kind of like and then you have to figure out how to make it. You have to figure. so there's a lot of things that go into being an artist, a lot of hardship, but it's almost like they can't stop you. Like, I'm gonna make it. Like, it's there. It's the fire that it doesn't stop. Like I stopped doing comics. I went to do, storyboardings, and I was, learning and getting gigs. And then and my wife was like, all right, so what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to do comics. She's like, really? Like, I was like, yes, I want to do it. Yes, I'm here on earth to do comics. So if you don't have that right now, then you should probably like, okay, maybe I'll just draw for fun. But if it's in you already, then you already have like, 90% of everything else is just learning how to draw, which is with time, which is with showing your art, showing up to people and like getting the critique. But if you have that storm in you, you're already, on your way. It's like people, there's, how do people stop you is really the question, Did that answer? I don't know.
Yeah.
So what is your idea? Not who's going? Who's asked the question?
I just said
you.
Okay.
You were.
But basically, how do you come up with your characters? What is your style? Because I'm going to steal it. Go ahead.
The character was. I wish I had like some sketches here. Well, when I first drew him, he had like a hoodie. He looked like a ghost. He didn't really look like. Oh, look at that. Yes. It's $8. Just watch him just play with his figure for the rest of it. Yeah, he did. Like, so the angel didn't look like he did. He was completely different design, and because the story wasn't in my head. So I think you got to sit down. You got to have a story, and that in itself is writing. I'm sure, like, Todd, are you guys all writers? You guys?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
So writing is really, really effing hard. It's very hard. So coming up with a story that like not only makes you excited, but like you have to like maintain like the curiosity of people to read it. It's like it's an art form. It's another art form. So have the story, have your character, learn how to tell a story, and then go from there and then design it. So what made my hero look like he does, like the colors. So I had a design for him, and then there's a video from Brazil, like this homeless guy. So this lady was being held at gunpoint in Brazil in front of a church, Catholic church, huge doors. And this guy's holding her at gunpoint. And this homeless guy just comes up into the stairs and just starts fighting the guy, and he frees the lady, right? The lady's walked down, she runs down the stairs and she's saved. But then the police officers just start shooting both of the guys. So they kill the guy with the gun, that had the gun, and the homeless person. And he's just kind of like, he's on the door of this huge cathedral, and he's kneeling down, and it's almost like I did my mission, and he's just like bleeding. And it's just like, I was like, that completely changed it for me. And the character, this homeless guy, I looked into who he was. Apparently one of his son died in like gun violence. So he was never the same. So he couldn't walk back into being a normal person because of that. So he was never the same after that. And in this one moment, like he saved this woman, gave his life up, and it was like, boom. And he was wearing like all blue, and he had like this white thing on his shirt. And I was like, that's what the angel is going to look like. That's the colors that I chose. So but that took a while, that took a long time, so that influence, not only like the look of the angel, but somewhat of the character angel. So I take things from like news, from movies, and I'm always like aware of like what's going on around me, and I try to put that into my story. Like Quentin Tarantino said, like if you're writing a movie, and then you have a fight with your girl, and then you go home and then you write a scene, and if that fight is not in your scene or in your movie, you're not doing your job. Like you got to put things from your life into your story, so that's how other people relate it. That's how your story grows and make it more universal. It's like, oh yeah, you know, my dad, you know, I haven't talked to my dad in 3 years, not me per se, but like somebody's like, I haven't talked to my dad in 3 years. You know, I can relate to that character. So yeah, so, you know, be aware, you know, learn the story, tell stories, be aware of what's around you, use it, you know, just don't be comic book centric. Like I love movies. I love watching movies, reading books. So all that goes into it.
Wow. That's something powerful, man. I didn't know that's where you got the Angel of Sad Hill. You know, that's a good reference material. That is a good way to honor that man and stuff like that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you know,
yeah, it stayed with me. Like I screenshot. I still have the screenshot on my phone. You know, probably if I knew like I could, you know, I wish I could have brought it up and like showed you. You know, so it's just like him charging. You know,
you was out there. You were actually there when that happened.
No, I saw it. I saw it on the news.
On the news, okay.
It was just like a video that came up, and then I saw it. You know, and it was like an epiphany. It's like, oh my God, you know, who is that guy? Like, who does that? You know, so it's like the curiosity, like what causes, you know, it's like, you know, remember that like that movie Hancock with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's homeless, but he's a superhero, you know, or he has powers and you know, nobody likes him. So, but like what causes like somebody homeless to do something so like
selfless
like that?
Yeah.
Like I haven't, like what, you know, so it's like that curiosity, like, okay, so that's what I started studying him, and then studying what makes heroes, you know, like what makes a superhero, like what goes into the, you know, the influence of the mother, you know, like the, you know, so it's all, you know, it's all very interesting.
Most of the heroes go to UA, you know, trained by All Might, you know.
Yeah. I still gotta watch that. I never.
You what?
Yeah.
You haven't watched My Hero Academia?
No, man. I hear it's awesome.
It is good.
That question you just asked yourself, that is like the first several episodes. What makes a hero and stuff. So, wow.
I should just watch that then.
You should
talk about it.
You got a lot to catch up on, like about 1 million episodes and like several movies. You know,
don't worry. There's a lot of filler that you can skip.
It's still almost like Dragon Ball. It's almost like Dragon Ball Z. It took Goku 1 hour in the chamber, but for us, it's a full goddamn week.
Yeah.
Let's get him kind of Senzu bean and send him back out there. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that freaking chamber thing. But I don't want to talk about that because that makes me angry. And I start thinking about my hair, and you got hair, nice and stuff. But
that's I remember people from The Walking Dead complaining how they were like dragging people along with their boomerang storytelling. Yeah, I'm like, I grew up on this shit.
Yes, that was
I had this in Dragon Ball. Like, what do you mean?
That was a yes.
I always wanted that show to end with them to like tell us exactly what happened, what caused the zombie apocalypse, and that they still said that wasn't an important part of it. It was the important part of it was the situation that the humans were dealing with just the zombie issue around that. But nobody ever said like what caused it. Did I miss that part? Because I did stop watching it after Negan cracked everybody.
The comics never did either.
Yeah, they kind of hinted at it in the first season, right? They were like, we all have it already. Like, it's already in us, right?
Yeah.
Lab, but it wasn't really an origin. It was just like hinted at. So,
yeah. Did you ever hear Robert Kirkman, the way he pitched that was like Image didn't want to do anything with zombies. So, like, he pitched it that it was going to actually be like aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
And he got them to like sign on to it for aliens. And then they got like zombies. Yeah, they got like 5 or 6 issues in, and like one of the people hit him up and was like, "Hey, when are the aliens gonna pop up?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, my bad."
Well, the aliens dropped a couple of canisters and turned everybody to zombies, and they just left the story. So there you go, right there.
So that's it. So that might actually be the origin. It was aliens. So it's the same setup as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Alien canister drops. It's all good.
Oh god.
So when you do the cons stuff like that, and you do your and you go in and you do tell everybody know how to produce the comics and everything and stuff, what advice do you give? Because I know when people ask me when I do panels, you know, what advice do I have to give? So, sir, we're asking a professional who's worked with DC, milestone, got good hair. What do you do?
Well, before I answer that, what is your advice that you give them, Marvin?
I tell them I knew a guy who worked for DC and he has excellent hair gel on his hair, and that's my influence. But most of all, I tell people, if you're an artist, at least an hour every day, practice something. If you're trying to do your anatomy better, practice on that one piece of anatomy that gives you the worst problem until you master it down. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a writer, at least get up once a day for like an hour and you write. You wasn't trying to edit. No, you want to be a writer, you write. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a colorist, you get up every day, you get down, you learn as much as you can about color theory and the way colors blend and everything, and what how you do foreshadowing, foreshortening and stuff like that with your artwork, and you put it all together. I just believe in you practice. And I mean, I was one of my own, and I also tell people now, don't procrastinate and don't keep changing up stuff, because that was one of my problems. You know what I'm saying? Until Todd told me, he jumped on my case. He was like, listen here, you piece of, you know what I'm saying? You get that stuff out there, and you get it out there right now. And I was like, Todd, not in front of the kids. We were at a Comic-Con. He was like,
my wife is right.
He tried to backhand me. I was like, watch it, so you can't hit me because you not knock my wig off. Suppose that I don't have really good hair. But all jokes aside, though, that is basically what I tell everybody. It's all about practice and practice and practice. If you want to get better at something, you keep doing it over and over until it becomes the norm. And when you get out there to do it, it's easy. But that's me. And I'm like, a rapper / actor, producer, astronaut, comic book writer, and acrobat. I do backflips sometimes too. But what about you, sir? What do you do?
Well, I think it depends on like the art that you're looking at, right? So if you see a portfolio that needs anatomy, that needs help in foreshortening, that needs all of this, that's what you're saying is like, that's what you need. That's what you. But if you come across somebody that like knows all that already, it's kind of tougher, because their anatomy is there, the storytelling is there, and I think it's like I was in that position when so when I would show my portfolio to people, they're like, oh yeah, you're just keep going. They would say, yeah, just keep going. It was like until Brian Stillfreeze were like, you can draw, you won that race. Now you got to choose like a genre. You got to tell the story that you're telling. If it's action, go with that. If it's like horror or if it's noir, so now you have to learn genres, Yeah. So it's like what you're saying. Yeah. Like never, I tell people like when I see them, I'm like, don't stop. That's all I can tell you. Don't stop. Keep drawing, just like you said, like, whatever that means to you, just keep drawing. But it's when they know how to draw, that's a little tougher. Then you have to be like, all right, well, what are you trying to tell? What kind of story are you trying to tell here? What's the genre? Then you need a little more shadows, or if it's action, you need to pick up the pace on these pages. You shouldn't be telling this one thing, in 4 or 5 pages, squish that page in, don't bore us with if it's action, So yeah, so that's it. I guess it depends on the artist, like the people who are showing you the art, what they're trying to do.
I don't know. This guy's pretty smart. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right, I throw questions up to you, Todd and Nick. And by the way, Nick is not a artist or a writer. Nick is just cool, and he's out the
pop culture connoisseur.
He's a pop culture connoisseur, sir.
Self-diagnosed.
He usually have great questions though, and he has a great beard. It's very nice.
Yeah,
it's true.
I work.
All the gentlemen have beards. I'm kind of like, mine doesn't connect.
Mine's been a long time in the making.
I went to the goatee.
I got real lazy like 13 years ago, and this just kind of happened. And then it becomes part of your personality.
I just stopped doing hygiene around my face.
But yeah. So
taking fries from last week.
Yeah, I mean, you can fluff it out pretty good at this point, but yeah, you just roll with it. So, well, cool. I want to talk the business side of the comics right now. So you go and you do you do cons. I'm guessing. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what type of con?
Uh-huh.
What what are some of the cons you do, and what are kind of do you do prints? Like, what's your setup when you go do with cons?
Yeah, I do prints. I have my comic. I just sold the last I printed like 200 copies. I just sold the last copy in the SpaceCon when we were there, Marvin. So that was pretty cool. So cons really got better once I got my own stuff. Like before, I would just show up with prints, and then people were like, "What else you?" I'm like,
Yeah.
And I do commissions, But when I had my own hero, my own look thing, so that kind of got better. MegaCon, MegaCon Orlando. I've done Heroes Con. Is that the one in North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina. Yep.
I've done that one. So it's always like, I'm sure you gentlemen know, like it's like a very you're trying to make the table, you're trying to make some money, and you're trying to be on. You're being with people. So at the end of the day, you're kind of beat. But yeah, it's still like a learning thing with me, because I like to draw, and so that's another area where my wife helps. She's very detail oriented, so she has like all this. So the business kind of side of it, yeah.
So next week we're gonna interview your wife.
Yeah, you should.
Come on.
I mean,
because we want to see all this detail stuff. But I won't lie, when she be there at the table,
yeah,
she have shit running, man. I give her props, and she's always nice. She always greets you with a smile. Yeah. Nice lady, you know what I'm saying? I have nothing bad to say about those two. He's always very helpful, you know what I'm saying? And he makes me very jealous because he also has a mask of his superhero Angel sat here on his table. I want to knock it over because I'm a hater. I hate that.
But I don't have the action figure.
That's why I did it. This is why this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come up to your table and fight the mask. With the action figure. You know what I'm saying? But they're always very helpful, man. I mean, great people, and I mean, he's a good guy. I'm just.
But you should have her. She'll tell you stories.
There you go. She'll come there, you know what I'm saying, and tell you about it, because he does commissions. I remember this one last commission, he drew a cat,
Yeah, man, that was tough. Like, this lady's like, "Can you draw a cat?" I'm like,
what did she say to you? It's like, that's it? I'm thinking to myself, it's a cat. What did you want, like the cat they have like Wolverine claws on, he flying to it? You gave him a cat sitting down.
It was just like a regular black cat,
Yeah, it's a cat.
I'm like, what do you just want me to draw? She sent me the picture. I'm like, yeah, just draw that. I'm like, okay. I draw it. And she's like, oh, that's it. It was for her daughter. The daughter loved it. So that
she's like, oh my God, it's Richard or whatever cat they was. But the mom was like,
yeah, she was not happy.
That's it. It was like, I'm thinking to myself, what did you want to throw like a shadow under the cat? And it was a black cat at that.
Yeah, before she was like, just
a
pencil sketch, nothing special, because she didn't want me to I don't know. She was scared of the pricing, or I don't know.
I was about to say, she didn't want to pay extra.
Yeah, so nothing special, just pencil, something quick.
Just a cat.
That's it.
He knocked it out of the ballpark. It was a cat. He didn't put no boots on it with a little sword. I had a name. Just a cat. So what? Put it like this: since you do, I'm gonna ask one of Todd questions. What is your strangest encounter at a Comic-Con, man?
Oh man, let's see. I think it might have been like a commission request. Like this guy, he came in and he's like, I don't know, like 40-something years old, and he asked me to draw him as the female Loki, thinking of him. So like, it's him as a female Loki, but thinking so I had to draw the female Loki and then draw him. But which I did, it was fine. It was like, but it was like, he kept going like, is this too weird for you? I'm like, no, you're paying. This is completely
no.
Todd, you would have to.
Like, I love weird requests, but
hasn't somebody else said that? They had a
Yeah,
guy
I'm,
that
I'm
did
not
that
gonna
too.
I'm not gonna call him out, but yeah, we
Well,
were partnered
we
with
don't have
some,
to, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
been a similar story.
well, we were partnered with some artists at an event, and they were telling us some very similar stories about how majority of the profit that they make when they go to these shows is doing the either not safe for work commissions or the kind of oddball commissions there. And because they're typically, a little more out there, they usually will just like throw up like crazy prices because they're just like, I don't want to do this. So like, if I'm going to do it, you're going to pay me. And so they'll like, double like whatever another commission would be. And then, they'll pay it like usually hands down, no questions asked. And then they were telling us a story about one they did. And
It was
I want
very,
to say the
very,
guy,
very similar.
yeah, it was something
Like,
similar to that. But the guy came in on like Saturday morning, and like paid for the commission. And they set a timeline for after the show because they weren't doing the commissions at the show. They were, taking them at the show, but they do them whenever they got back. And I guess he came back like sometime Saturday afternoon and was just like, is it done yet? Like, what's going on? And then he came back like Sunday morning. And like every time he keeps telling them, like, no, we're not even going to start it here. We got comments says, you mean pants down, no questions asked. Yeah, but so that was it. But they apparently, yeah, they get that all the time where people come in and hit them with those type of requests.
Yeah, and I don't mind.
Yeah.
Like I'll draw whatever. Like nothing
Sure.
is crazy. I won't do like if like because there are kids walking around. I won't do like not safe for work, but weird stuff doesn't whatever. It's I'm making this person's day, so it's all good.
Sure.
But nothing too weird because Comic Cons themselves are very weird, right? Yeah,
they're interesting.
So yeah, so you're watching people, you're having fun. Nothing crazy like weird has ever too crazy, but that's I guess that's pretty common because if other people have the same experience.
I mean, I'm not going to call it common. I mean, I was kind of tripped out whenever they told us about it. Like, I remember looking at Nick and being like, what? Like, I'm so happy we're not artists, because like nobody comes and like, hey, can you write this for me? Because everybody thinks they can write. So like nobody does that. But yeah, I remember being tripped out by it. Just like, oh, okay, cool. And I remember actually before it, I remember thinking like, man, like we miss out on like doing commissions because like we can't do that. So like that's a source of revenue that we're never going to get. And then when they told us about that, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. Like, no worries, I'm good. I don't want to do that. I'm good. I'll make money elsewhere. I'll do T-shirts.
I don't know. I don't do the commissions and stuff because I know people do come with weird requests and stuff, and it's just like when I used to do like commissions and do sketches and stuff for people and everything. It's just I don't know, like the cat. People always expect I'm gonna pay you this much, and I want you to give me the Mona Lisa.
Yeah,
and it's like you got to pay for the Mona Lisa, baby. But other than that, you could get some Charlie Brown, baby. You know what I'm saying? You give me Charlie Brown money, I'm gonna give you Charlie Brown art. So you want some better stuff, you gotta come up to the price and stuff like that. But I prefer to do my stuff like on my iPad. Like I have my TV set up behind me and stuff like that, and just draw people to the table and stuff. But I'm not. I don't like doing the commission and stuff.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. One of the shows we were at, the table next to us, like they were doing the blank covers and they would do commissions. And one of the requests was for like it was like World War Hulk versus like John Wick. And I remember like I'm a big Hulk fan, and the artist being like, "Hey, how should I do this?" And I'm like, "John Wick is a puddle on the floor, like under Hulk's hand. Like, what are you talking about?" Like, it's like, well, no, that's not what he wants. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. That's what would happen. Like, as long as we're on the same page. Like, I love Keanu Reeves, but he would die. And yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. It's a trip. Like, it's a skill set. It's definitely there's a business to it, and kudos out there for everybody who's able to take advantage of that because it's a big opportunity.
That would be a good fan art poster though, right there. The whole bunch of John Wick. Just have John Wick with like that freaking Caltech 12 gauge, you know what I'm saying? And like just blast and hope, the bullets bouncing off, but he's like reaching for him and stuff. That would be pretty cool.
The way he did it was really cool. I think he actually had like John Wick like on top of like Hulk's head, like he was like just like like raining down on him with bullets. So I mean, the cover ended up being awesome, but
it's like the second before John Wick died.
Yeah. This is the last moment before John Wick right there.
His last shots he got off before he was like that puddle under the Hulk's fist.
Before the Hulk ate him. Yeah.
Oh, do you guys have like a wildest con story?
Those two guys do. Those guys have awesome con stories. They told one story where they met MD McDonald, but they don't want to talk about
it. We met MD McDonald at our first show, and that was what inspired us to continue doing shows. We were ready to walk and quit, and MD talked to us and inspired us to continue on our journey. Damn. There's like some legit truth to that, though, because it was a very interesting show, and we were very blessed in the fact that Marvin was right across from us. We had, again, Marvin was right across from us. We had great table mates to the left and to the right. It was a really, really cool experience. And it was very encouraging to go there. And I don't think we've had a similar experience since where we were just surrounded by awesome people. Like somebody kind of always like ruined it. But I mean, I don't know. I think the time we ran into Dog and Bounty Hunter like everywhere. Was
everywhere?
Yeah, he was everywhere. It was a really slow show.
Did you have priors? Was he after you?
No, but he that's funny. I didn't even think about that. But no, we were at, what was it? We were at Fanboy Expo down in Orlando, and it was a really slow show that I won't get into because I'll get on a soapbox and be really pissed off. But Dog was just everywhere. Like it was just slow. He was chilling. And so like we ran into him while he was getting a tattoo. We talked to him there. Then we ran into him at the show. We ran into him at Wawa. We ran into him at the hallway of the hotel. And by the way, he's like 5'4". Like, I mean, he's a very tiny individual. I'm exaggerating for effect, but he's not that tall. But I mean, he just obviously stands out. And we just ran into him everywhere. And everywhere he just was, said hi to us every time. He was super nice. He was the sweetest dude. But I remember like we're getting Wawa and, we're getting subs and like he's just over there in line. He's like, hey guys. Yeah, but I think Dog's probably the wildest one. There's been a couple of them though. I met John Swayze, the voice actor for he was Hohenheim in Full Metal Alchemist. He did what is it? He's One for All in My Hero Academia. So whenever you watch that, he's there. And I met him down at the bar for Collective Con. Him and Chuck Huber. And I went down there and I was at the bar and I just was lazy and didn't want to go anywhere. So I was willing to pay for the hotel food. And I was just down there and he saw like my thing on my wrist. And I had no idea who he was. Never seen him, had absolutely nothing. And he just started talking. He's like, hey man, did you go to the show? And he was just super nice, super cool. And I ended up hanging out with him and Chuck for majority of the night. And about halfway through was able to kind of like, wait, what do you do? And, all of a sudden they like tell me what they do. And I'm just like kind of trying not to fanboy really hard for the remainder of it. And then the next day he was doing a panel and he had told me, he's like, yeah, I'm doing a panel, man. He's like, just whenever you hear the panel, just like poke your head in real quick and kind of wave. And so I did. And, towards the end of the panel, I kind of popped over there and, just kind of gave him a wave. And like, he was just like, wait, Todd. He's like, hold on. I want everybody real quick. That's Todd Kelly. He does an absolutely awesome comic book. As soon as you leave here, go check him out. Todd, where are you at? And I was like, right there. And I was like, I'm right here. And I'm a little embarrassed because I'm like, wait, what the fuck is happening? And, I was right there. And sure enough, like 20, 25 people came right afterwards. Helped me end up selling out at that show.
So he made a table. He got his whole food, everything. Great night. Thank you, Todd. Go ahead and rest the story.
To this day, that's still one of the best shows I've ever done. And he actually bought, I think it was like probably my second to last set of books. He came and bought them. And it was really cool. So I will say this, anybody who's ever wanted to go work cons, if you want to try to meet like the voice actors and try to like rub elbows and do the things, whatever hotel is listed on the website, stay at that hotel. If you can afford to even do it for a night, go stay at that hotel for a night, go down to the bar, hang out in the area, socialize, network, because they're all there. They're all hanging out.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be
a dick. Don't be a dick. But but just hang out, socialize. Because, I mean, it's, again, a lot of people, especially if you know the area. Like, when I was in Jacksonville, I used to live in Jacksonville. So, like, when they were like, where's a good place for sushi? Like, I knew where a good place for sushi was. So, like, all of a sudden, I was their local guy, and you can kind of help out. So. Yeah, but no, cons are fun.
Yeah.
Cons are
They
fun.
can be. They can be, yeah.
Well, it's all about what you make it, right? So, I mean, at the end of the day, like it's an opportunity. So, if you're going to go there, if you're going to network, if you're trying to, do different things, if you're solely going there to make money, and it is what it is, you're going to fail
having a bad
sometimes, and that's
experience.
okay. Like you're going to fail, but if you go and you network, you also try to make money, and you do this and you do that, you can always turn a con into a win. Even if you just break even, you can walk out of there with a whole bunch of connections that you didn't have before. And again, you can turn that into time well spent if you hustle. Now, if you're the guy that goes and sits at the con and just plays on your phone the whole time and doesn't talk to anybody and doesn't do this or doesn't do that, then yeah, I mean, you might as well knock off.
True. Speaking of cons, what's your next con there, Mr. Peterson?
Oh, I don't know. I have to see. I have to see on this side because I'm on Fort Lauderdale. I have to check out what they have on this side, like if there's any good cons. But I have nothing coming.
Sir, just tell us you don't want us to show up at none of your cons because we know you're like we're focused. I saw you. I was watching a video and you were on there. Like I saw your elbow on that milestone initiative video because you didn't. We talked about that. You were supposed to jump out and be like, "Hi, I'm Peter." You didn't do that.
No.
We'll talk about that on the next video. That how to get yourself out there so you could be actually in the video and stuff like that. So it's okay.
Well, so when you reach out to cons, do you hit them up and be like, "Yo, I want a free table. Like I've done A, B, and C. I'm part of this. Like, can you give me a
I
con
got good
table?"
hair.
Yeah. You got like I got good hair. Like, tell me a comp table. Do you hit them up like that, or you just like, all right, cool, like, give me a free table?
No.
I would.
So you're not at that point where they call you and be like, "Hey Peterson, we have a table for you. We're gonna send the plane. We're gonna send a private jet down to pick you and your family and your wife up. We're gonna bring you back. It's gonna be some lobster thermidor on the plane, a little warm butter, sauce, and some Chianti or it's 1973 Dom Perignon." Don't do that. No.
I'm gonna have to sell a lot of the Angel of Sad Hill before that happens. So
Come on, man, you're
on my way. On my way.
You touched the hand of Jim Lee.
That's actually I did, man. I really had to go to the bathroom when he was in the room, like before the COVID thing.
This story could get a little weird. Go ahead.
They did a whole presentation, right? And we had to sit there, and they did like the history of DC, and Jim Lee and the execs came, and I'm like, I really have to pee, like it's an emergency, So I'm like, they ended, and everybody got up and like shaking hands. So I'm like, all right, let me just go and do my thing and come back, and shake his hand. But he wasn't in the room. He ran out after. I guess it took too long. But I did meet him over Zoom, and he did. So we did all that. I just didn't shake his hand.
You're all right, sir. We're not gonna hold that against you. I thought this story was gonna go like south. Like I left. Jim Lee came in the bathroom. We were both using the urinal. I reached over. I shook his hand. I mean, like that's wrong.
A lot of directions I thought that could have went. I'm glad it went the direction it did.
I thought this was going to be like a story of fire and brimstone. It was going to go straight to hell. But you saved it, Mr. Peterson. You saved it very good, sir.
It wasn't that kind of shenanigan.
So, but all right. So here's another question for him. We're going to start to wind it down for you, sir, because I know you're super talented. And you probably got to go put on your Angel of Sad Hill suit and probably go save a cat out of a tree. And we don't want you not to miss that cat. But what advice would you give anybody like that's aspiring to be like you, sir? An incredible human being with legendary powers and ability.
Just keep going. Find an editor. Find like Top Cal. They usually do talent searches. And what the cool thing about that is that it's like for a long time. You get like say you get the script, and then in like a year or so, you can turn in your pages. So you have a long time to work on, make it perfect.
Are you serious? Gee.
Top Cal does that. I think this is whenever DC will do their next talent search. Because this was volume 1. So I think they're gonna keep. So reach out. Show editors. You have a comic book. That's your best calling card. If you like, Marvin, if you have artists out there, if you have your own comic book, that's your calling card. You give an editor that, and it's like, this is what I can do. That's the best thing you can do.
To hell with that. I'm gonna tell him I know you, and I wrote all over your comic book and made your comic book good. And I taught him, and that should be enough right there for me. And presto change, I'm in book 2.
Yeah, that too.
See, yeah, so I thought of that already. I already thought about
Marvin's strategy is cloud chasing. Got you.
There we go.
Yeah.
He can't have the good hair, so he's got to do something.
That's right. So I can't have the good hair, and the whole time I'm wearing a hat because they're gonna be like, "Sure, you know him? Let's see your hair." I'm gonna be like, "No, I don't have that. I have no hair, and and I don't care. But I know him. I have super soft skin. I'm very smooth."
That's true. Your lotion game is 10 out of 10.
It's 10 out of 10, man. It's like I be doing like the hand modeling thing, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm Zoolander or stuff. Just a hand model.
That's right. Got the blue steel for hands.
The blue steel. But Mr. Todd, Mr. Nick, is there any other questions you have for this incredibly talented young man?
I'll just ask, I mean, what are your goals? What do you want to, how far do you want to take this? Like, where do you consider, not necessarily where do you consider to win, but, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve in the comic industry?
Draw the Silver Surfer for Marvel, draw Batman for DC.
All right. Respect.
Nice.
Respect.
I don't have a question. You guys covered everything, but Peterson, where can we find your stuff?
You can go to my Instagram, The Angel of Sad Hill. It's for the Angel. What? I think I heard some. The Angel of Sad Hill on Instagram is my comic book, and then The Art of Nazartep is my artist page. It's not just my comic. Yeah, reach out.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, love it. MD, anything else you want to cover?
There we go. Yeah. That's the issue.
Sir, it's a very awesome book, sir.
What number is that, MD?
This is the first issue, man.
No. Out of 200. Which number out of 200?
You know what? I got shook, man. It's like 180 out of 200. I thought I was supposed to get like number 1.
You did 180.
You get 180, and that's the only 180.
Yeah, it's 101.
Yeah, it's a complete 180. It's a complete turnaround. You know what I'm saying? That's a complete 180. You know what I'm saying? But it's good. I'm not mad. I'm a very happy customer. I got it. It's been autographed. When you go super famous, I'll put this on for options. You know what I'm saying? Along with that picture that we took the other week, and be like, look, it's him. He did this. You know what I'm saying? It's all right. I'm happy, sir. I'm very happy with my stuff. But you know what? What's coming is the crossover, is the Swearverse crossover.
Oh, don't make them kiss. Okay.
No, sir, they're not that, sir. This is not a Jim Lee moment in the bathroom. So, I'll just tell you. But hey, I'm gonna do that though, like we was talking about with the poster and stuff, and we'll see where it goes, sir. Do an indie crossover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think we ought to send 8-Ball to Brazil, man, for Carnival, and that's how I run into it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So that'll be a deal because you can't have the angel come to. What are you gonna come to Fort Myers for? The beaches in Brazil? Get out of here, you freaking guy! You better spot over there. I'm just saying. But I just want to show you, sir. I have your talent right. It's right. It's in arm's reach. You see how I very had. And I know you probably set that up before you start doing the thing. No, sir. You're a great artist, sir. When I grow up, and I get professional, and I go to Marvel, and I tell them how you copied me and want to draw the Silver Surfer for them and stuff, I'm gonna let them know. I'm gonna let them know who you are, and.
Yeah.
Batman, you know what I'm saying? Why? Because I'm Batman,
That's it. That's all you need.
Other than that, sir.
Well, thank you guys for having me, man. This is awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. And before we jump off, July 8th and 9th, Donald Tucker Civic Center, InfinityCon. There we go. Boom. Come check it out. It's going to be a great show. Lots of fun. We're 2 weeks away now? Yeah, we'll be there in 2 weeks. Holy crap. I have to start prepping like right now. I am so behind. So, yeah.
They got all kinds of cool stuff. We had David a couple weeks ago. Go check out that podcast. He talked about everything they're going to have, just about the Kids Con, the game tournament, the vendors, everything.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. But we're going to be there most
We
importantly.
are, yes.
So,
yes.
Come check us out.
I'm going to stop in to aggravate people.
Do it.
That's fine.
We'll be here. All right. Well, everybody have a great one. With any luck, we'll be back next week. Have an awesome one. Take care. Love you all. Thank you much.
Thank you.